Right now, wild weather. A Metro North train hits a tree on the tracks as serious wind gusts hit the tri-state. We are all over this story.
Big story, big headline. The winds gusting upwards of 45 to 50 miles per hour as the big storm begins to pull away.
A new pet leads to a family tragedy. A Queens woman killed and her son attacked by the dog they just adopted.
And crews cut why the Giants fan favorite is dancing his way out of town.
This is the Pix 11 News at 5 with Tamsin Fidel and Corey Chambers.
We begin with breaking news tonight. The LIRR's Babylon branch has been temporarily suspended because of a fallen utility pole at the Massapequa Park station.
Yeah, service is suspended in both directions between Seaford and Babylon. You can expect delays as other trains leaving from Penn Station make extra stops to accommodate riders.
Yeah, well, this comes as our area is under a high wind warning for another hour tonight, but the damage is already done. Gusts reached up to 50 miles per hour in some areas today. You
can see the pictures here of the impact. Fierce winds brought down glass onto sidewalks, caused the canopy to collapse, and also knocked down power lines. Thanks so much for joining us. I'm Corey Chambers.
And I'm Tamsin Fidel. It has been a blustery start to the week, but wind is not the only thing we are in store for right now.
Yeah, let's get right to Mr. G for what's ahead.
All right, the big story for us was a tale of these winds, and it just kept on coming throughout the tri-state area. We had gusts upwards of 72 miles per hour. That's White Plains, Sands Point, Calverton on Long Island. Remember, you guys had a blizzard a week ago, and now you're featuring winds like this, and that really makes it tough. The high wind warning is in effect until 6 p.m. That's the city of Nassau, Suffolk County, and the eastern end of Long Island, Connecticut. The closer you go to the storm, the more winds you will get. But the storm is departing. That's good news. As it departs, the winds will diminish a little bit, still gusting at 41 miles per hour. But look what happens with the time, the stamp, and the winds. 26 miles per hour. Into the morning hours is 17 miles per hour, and the winds will go light by tomorrow. But this is a mammoth storm. Bombogenesis develops and just bombs out over the ocean, and these storms even threw flurries back at us during this afternoon. So the winds diminish very slowly, get down to 27 degrees. Here comes Valentine's Day. The forecast, we'll have it later on.
All right, G, thank you.
Well, this wild weather caused the city to issue a safety warning for all New Yorkers.
Yeah, it comes after glass from a hotel shattered, causing shards to fall down onto the sidewalk below. Pix 11 and Shirley Chan live in Lower Manhattan tonight with the details for us. Shirley.
Tamsin and Corey, this blustery day brought down tree limbs. It also caused scaffolding to dangle and glass to break. I'm going to step out of the shot so you can take a look at this hotel. It is the Millennium Hotel, and take a look at the 23rd floor. Fire officials telling me flying debris may have struck the glass. They're not sure exactly how the window blew out, but they are certain that this is weather related. And now sits an empty window frame. Thankfully, no one was hurt here, but the wind gusts wreaked havoc in Lower Manhattan and throughout the boroughs today. A dramatic day for New Yorkers. A wind advisory is in effect until this evening. The strongest gusts coming this morning.
I'm walking down the street. There's glass falling from the building.
The towering Millennium Hotel had a window blown out on the 23rd floor in a storage room.
When we got here, it appears that there was some large shards of glass precariously hanging from the top of the building.
Crews spent the day repairing the double-pane glass while several streets below were closed off for safety.
Just a crash. How glass breaks. Thank God nobody was hurt.
If you look in the front, you can see some of the windows are open. Probably the wind got up underneath it and blew it out.
And just blocks away at 250 Broadway, crews were on scene to secure scaffolding.
They've had a lot of scaffolding incidents. We had one right around the corner on Broadway today. A lot of bricks falling from the building. I would say it's weather related.
It was so blustery you could hear it. Lower Manhattan wasn't the only area where the wind wreaked havoc. Strong winds knocked over the roof of a gas station in Fresh Meadows, Queens. And take a look at this, a tree toppling a car in the Bronx. And the wind makes it feel so much colder out here. It almost feels like ice is hitting your face. The wind advisory goes until 6 o'clock tonight, so we just have under an hour to go. By the way, these strong winds are also affecting area airports. At last check, there is an average of an hour delay at JFK and a whopping 3.5-hour delay at both LaGuardia and Newark. We are live in Lower Manhattan. Shirley Chan, Pix 11 News.
All right, Shirley, thank you.
All right, let's talk about this. On a Metro North train derailed earlier today, and it was filled with passengers at the time.
Yeah, what a scene this was. Strong winds blew a tree right onto the tracks, and the train could not stop in time. Pix 7's Allison Caden is live for us in Hawthorne, New York, with the latest on that.
And according to the MTA, more than 200 passengers were on board this Harlem Line train, and they say, luckily, no injuries. Now, some 5 hours after it derailed, the train remains here on the tracks just north of Hawthorne, and Metro North's rush hour service has been affected. You can see the branches of the tree stuck under the train as it sits just north of the Hawthorne station.
It felt like we had hit something. We were pretty clear. I was very glad that nobody seemed to be injured.
John Ehrlich, a passenger in the front car, says he thought the train had possibly derailed. And according to the MTA, he was right.
Due to the wind conditions, the tree was down across the tracks, and by the time he saw the tree, it was under the train.
MTA Police Captain Joseph Esposito says a set of wheels on the front car derailed.
There was no injuries, and now Metro North is in the process of re-railing the disabled train.
According to the MTA, the train left southeast at about 11:15 a.m. The train derailed just before noon, with more than 200 people on board. Ehrlich, who was commuting to his job in Manhattan from Chappaqua, says people remained calm. He took this picture immediately after the derailment. He says Metro North responded well and made sure everyone was okay, although he is going to add one thing before he gets on the train to go home tonight.
I might even say a little prayer.
Yep, saying a little prayer. Now, all the passengers, they were boarded from this train onto a rescue train and made their way finally over to Grand Central Terminal. Now, Ehrlich, he's the passenger I spoke to. He mentioned that he felt so grateful that nobody was injured or killed, referring back to the accident 2 years ago in Valhalla, that Metro North train accident where multiple people died. Now, if you are commuting on the Harlem Line tonight here on Metro North, you can expect some cancellations and some trains will be combined. So expect delays. For now, we're live in Hawthorne. Allison Caden, Pix 11 News.
Certainly going to be a long night for a lot of people. Allison, thank you. Well, 4 people hurt when a school bus jumped the curb on the Upper East Side. This happened this morning. Officials say luckily no students were on board when the accident happened on 3rd Avenue near 85th Street. But the victims who were hurt are Doe Fund trainees who were receiving their assignments for the day when the bus hit them. The Doe Fund helps formerly homeless men and women start over again. The bus driver remained at the scene and was issued a summons for failing to yield to pedestrians.
Well, a new pet has led to a family tragedy in Queens. A 75-year-old woman is dead tonight after her son's dog attacked her. It happened as that woman went into the basement where her son lives. Well, his Mastiff Great Dane mix attacked. Pix 7's Miles Miller has the rest of the story.
In the seconds after she was attacked by her hulking Mastiff Great Dane mix, neighbors could hear 75-year-old Louise Hermita's cries for help.
She was calling her son.
It was around midnight Monday when her 39-year-old son was bitten on the leg and ran to neighbor Rosa Lopez's apartment.
Because she got bitten by the dog, that she was dying. And I was like, what you mean she's dying?
Lopez rushed inside the house on 27th Street in Long Island City.
I told them, put the dogs away before I go inside.
That's when she stumbled upon the gruesome scene.
Her arms like destroyed, and she had blood all over her. And
Lopez called 911. She says when paramedics arrived, the dog was barking uncontrollably. They refused to go inside, but when they did, they found Hermita unconscious. She was rushed to New York Hospital, where she died. Neighbors say the dog involved was dangerous. In fact, they say it attacked another dog on this block 2 weeks ago.
It was on that corner right there, and it attacked another neighborhood dog, a small little white dog. And the owner could not hold the dog back, and we were all jumping on it, trying to smack it, beat it, and it was just chewing it like a rag doll.
After that incident, Hermita knew she had to do something.
They were gonna put the dog to sleep on Wednesday, this coming Wednesday.
Hermita owned several dogs, and to neighbors, they were a nuisance. But to Hermita, they were her everything. her babies.
I told her, "You gonna get rid of them?" She was like, "No, I love my animals."
The dog was sedated by police before being turned over to Animal Care and Control. In Long Island City, Miles Miller, Pix 11 News.
All right, Mayor de Blasio set to deliver his fourth State of the City address. It's happening tonight in just a few hours as the mayor plans to run for a second term. A lot of people are calling tonight's speech a bid for re-election. He's expected to highlight his accomplishments from the first 3 years in office. The speech is also set to focus on affordable housing, the rights of New Yorkers, and the address is scheduled for 7 p.m. at the Apollo Theater in Harlem.
Meanwhile, Governor Christie getting set for a big meeting in Washington, D.C. He'll be having lunch with the president. The governor has less than a year left in office, and yesterday said he plans to work in the private sector once his term is complete. Governor Christie, of course, backed Trump throughout this campaign, but does not have a role in the cabinet and was not chosen for that position of that coveted position of Attorney General. And the Trump brand has taken another hit, this time from Sears and Kmart. Both retailers have now stopped selling Trump home furnishing products online. That's 31 items, including furniture, lamps, and chandeliers. Business Insider reports that the move comes as Sears Holdings tries to focus on its most profitable items. Last week, Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus discontinued sales of Ivanka Trump's fashion brand.
All right, Brooklyn Borough President Eric Adams was supposed to meet with Knicks owner James Dolan to talk about the Charles Oakley debacle from last week, but somehow the meeting was just mysteriously postponed. Adams held a press conference outside of Madison Square Garden saying the meeting was canceled. He went on to say he received a copy of an investigation conducted by Dolan's staff. He claims after reading that report, Oakley was targeted by a security official who had previous run-ins with the Knick legend. Well, Adams is now calling for the charges against Oakley to be dropped. No word right now when that meeting could be rescheduled. We will certainly keep an eye on that.
Oh, yeah. Well, it is the end of an era. The Giants are cutting ties with one of their most popular players.
Yeah, here's Andy Adler with more on what happened today with Victor Cruz. Hi there, Andy.
Hey, guys. Yeah, it really is an end of an era. After 7 years with the team, today Victor Cruz, yes, was cut from the Giants. This is a man who he gave his heart and his soul to Big Blue, but just wasn't the same after his surgery. Just wasn't productive, and ultimately, business is business, guys. Victor Cruz received the news earlier today. It's been over 2 years since Cruz had knee surgery, and he's really struggled since then. The wide receiver would have counted for $9.4 million against the Giants' salary cap. So with his release, New York now frees up $7.5 million in cap space. Now, Cruz, he took to Instagram with this message, simply saying, no long paragraph for all to read. Just simply thank you to New York Giants organization and to the amazing fans that watched me grow up in front of their eyes. Thank you. No, really, you know what? Thank you, Victor, because this is a man who helped New York win a Super Bowl. I'll tell you something about Victor. He was always the last guy on the field signing autographs. He genuinely loved the Giants, loved the fans. He will be missed. Today, Giants also released Rashad Jennings. We're going to have much more on all of that coming up at 6, but for now, I'll send it back to you guys.
All right, Andy, thank you.
Business is business, but
yes.
Oh, it hurts. It's just like, oh. All right. Well, from a jaw-dropping performance from Beyonce to a rapper dressed as a supervillain, last night's Grammy Awards were one to remember. We're taking a look at the highlights when we come back.
And Brooklyn apartments in a bad way tonight. People have been getting by this winter, but without any heat at all. Monica is working to get them a warmer home tonight.
And one heck of a wake-up call. A chaotic escape in California as thousands rush to get out of the way of a dam pushed to the brink. Why this disaster could be a national problem.